Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome back to Luxembourg for the second day of racing at the festival Elsy. Today we have the second race of the weekend, and that is the course à Luxembourg, which, as you can see up there, it says CESSANGE, which is where we are, just on the edge of the capital city of the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. It's another pretty nice day here, slightly less warm than yesterday, and all the riders were given their teddy bears when they signed on this morning. That's the small Italian continental team, Mendelspec, and World Team Roland. We're right in the centre of the village here in, or the suburb rather, in CESSANGE. Got the whole town is out to greet us as well, and as you can see, they were out to greet the riders when they signed on. There's the Volker Wessels team, who were particularly active yesterday. We were getting autographs signed and all sorts going on as everyone tied up. There's also a lovely, lovely little sausage stall there where luckily I've managed to get myself a nice hot dog, or rather, should I say, my co-commentator for today has managed to buy me a nice hot dog. I'm Owen Rogers. I'm here with multiple Luxembourg champion, recently retired World Tour rider, Christine Majerus.
Hello.
And thanks for my hot dog.
Yeah, tell me more about your grillwurst.
It was very nice. I do like a grillwurst. Yeah. I do. There are lots of good sausages in England, and I particularly like them. But I also like European sausages. Should we change this subject?
Yeah, we should come back to the race. Welcome everyone to CESSANGE. This is the town of the club, which is actually organizing this race for multiple years in a row now. The club of CESSANGE. So it's a home race for the organizer today.
And it's becoming a home race for yesterday's winner, Marta Lack, who had won both races last year.
She won both races last year, so also on this finish line, and she won yesterday by, what about, I would say, 1 millimeter. It was good that she had the big tires on, I think, because else she would not make it. Was a very exciting final yesterday, and when we look at the pictures that we have until now, looks like the riders decided to race an active race today, which will be nice to watch and to commentate, hopefully.
They rolled out at well, about an hour ago, really. And as you can see on your screen, they've got 121.6 kilometres to take on today, and that's 8 laps of a 15.2 kilometre loop. We've already had one intermediate sprint and one mountains classification competition, which I'll go through shortly. But as you can see, we sweep out into the countryside to the southwest of Luxembourg City. That big bit in the middle there, you can see, is the massive motorway junction there, Croix de Luxembourg. And as I said, it has been all action. We've had big breakaways up the road. We've had the intermediate sprints.
So this lap is a little bit different than yesterday. Yesterday we had 2 different laps, 1 big lap, 1 small lap. Relatively hard racing yesterday from the terrain. Today is on paper a little bit less hard. It's also 8 times the same lap, so no small or big laps. It's always the same. Particular here is that the lap just after the climb just after the finish is quite steep. You will see it on the images as the riders just now are coming towards towards the finish. So you will see it on the screen soon. It's a wall actually.
Yeah, it says 14% at the bottom.
It's a wall. And years ago there was the prologue there. So in the prologue we had to start with that climbing the wall, and then we had to do some corners at the top. And now it's part of this road race. I would prefer to have the finish at the top of it, but now the finish, unfortunately, is still at the bottom. Maybe we can plan to change that in the future. I would try to advocate for that.
It would be short enough to not be like the Breakaway, but still long and hard enough to change the race completely.
Really a nice finish. But now it is how it is. At the moment, we have two riders that are up the road. One rider from Uno X and one rider from Visma Lease the Bike. They had 30 seconds. Now it came down to 13 seconds. We'll see when they come here on the line, when we have the first live images back again on TV, if they're still ahead or not.
And you can see there we've got the Danish national champion, who is Rebecca Kuhner, riding for the Uno X Mobility team. And number 191, who is Eva van Aert from the Visma Lease Bike. I can't say it, I'm in trouble here, aren't I? The Visma Lease Bike team, who came, Eva came fifth in yesterday's stage. And as I explained, we've also already had an intermediate sprint and a GPM point. The first intermediate sprint was run by Alison Avoine from the Saint-Michel Preference Home Aubert 93, I think. Then Kirsty van Haften was in second for Cofidis, and Mathilde Vitilio for Liverlula Jaker was third. The intermediate sprint was won by Maria Giulia Confalonieri, who was a very, 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 very close second placer in yesterday's race. She rides for Uno X as well. Margot Vigie from Visma Lease Bike was in second place. And Marie Schreiber, the Luxembourg national champion, was in third place. You can see here that the two leaders are just passing the finish line. And you're about to see the wall that Christine was talking about. As I say, 14% it says at the very bottom. I remember first seeing it and thinking it was absolutely horrible and wondering if I'd actually get up it if I tried.
You would. It would just take time.
I'm not that strong at hills. As I think I said this yesterday, I come from the flattest part of England, or one of them, and it's hard. There you go. You can see it kicks up a little bit just on the junction there. I think the prologue started on the left here, didn't it, one year?
Well, 2 years. 1 year that really started at the bottom. Now, when they took the turn to the right, it started there, and then the last 2 years it actually started in the middle of the climb. So we only had this is the steepest part here. So yeah, it was not such a nice climbing with the TT bike, to be honest, but still the fastest option. As you can see, it's spreading out also because you have this corner at the bottom, so it also is about positioning. And the hard part is of course the climbing, but it's also the speeding up at the top. So if you're strong enough and you can make a good pace over the climb and still keep on doing your effort over it, just like the two Visma Lease Bike and Marie Schreiber from SD Works Pro Time are doing it now. That's where it's really painful and where you can make a difference.
Yeah, it's keeping it going over the top, isn't it? Yeah. Schreiber just coming to the front here, looking over her shoulder, and I think that's Rosita Reinhardt just behind her. And probably Vigie, is that Vigie or is it still Van Aert?
Yeah, she stayed. No, it's Van Aert still. Yeah. She was able to stay there. They were in the breakaway. Marie and the second rider from Visma Lease Bike catched up, and this is actually a pretty nice group. Well, Marie is a little bit outnumbered, but yeah, it's worth trying to keep on the effort, I think.
I mean, it's not going to last, is it? You can see Roland and Volker Wessels and also Seratiza are trying to bring it back. But it's interesting. But this comes back, and it would be perhaps a nice time to make a move.
You can also feel that they are a little bit panicking behind because it's not really organized. You have now one Volker Wessler who is trying trying to do the effort alone. So it's a little bit panic behind and not really organized. So that's what I said. That's why it's worth for the tree in front to keep it going.
Yeah.
Just to see how the situation is developing behind.
As you can see, it's pretty nice weather out here. Not as much wind as yesterday. Yesterday's wind was disastrous for a number of riders. We could see very clearly on our images yesterday just how much the trees were moving. But I was talking to the sports director from the Top Curls Fassa Bortolo team last night, and he was saying that was the cause of some of the crashes. You were coming from a protected area into virtual gale force wind.
Yes, the lap of yesterday was a little bit more exposed to the wind than today. Today, as you can see, you have a lot of hedges, a lot of forest on the right and on the left, and you go through little towns. So the wind actually today is not playing a that big part, I think. Only in the very last 2 to 3 kilometers coming to the line. That part is a little bit more exposed. Maybe we see when we have the first pictures of that part from where the wind is coming on that side, and if it can have an incidence on how the running into the final will be. But until now, this group is actually working pretty nice together. As I told you before, the panic behind is real. Everyone tries to do an effort by himself, and it's not really something organized. Now we see that Uno X is trying to keep it rolling again at the back, but it's not really organized yet. So their goal should be to ride this smooth and as fast as possible without killing themselves.
Is there that feeling of panic when that break is up the road and trying to get organised?
Yeah, I mean, if you have two Visma leader bike plus one SD Works Pro time, you know, also there's two teams less potentially riding behind and being able to bring the breakaway back. So if yourself feel not strong enough and you have the 2 big teams already up the road, then you know that you probably will have a hard time bringing these three strong riders back.
Just confirmation of the intermediate sprint, which was over the line just a few seconds ago. And of course, it was won by Rebecca Koerner with Eva van Acht in second place, and Alison Avoine, who won the first of those intermediate sprints earlier today. She took the points there. So that puts Avoine, who is from Liv Lula Jaco, now on 6 points, so she has the lead of the intermediate sprints competition. You can just see one of the riders from the Saint-Michel team just trying to bridge. It's the bridging from the Volker Wessels rider seems to have failed. That is either, and they told me earlier they do get themselves mixed up, or they get mixed up, but it's Emily Watts, the Australian rider from Saint-Michel, or it's Ségolène Thomas, who yesterday was so incredibly aggressive. One of the two. They are, well, most people are taller than me, but they tower above me.
I think the other tall girl is riding at the back.
Yeah, that's Thomas at the back there, in fact.
Okay, we have a regrouping. Now we go into Lloyd-Lange, and that's actually an important point on the lap, because once we go through this town, you see this big road where they are riding at the moment on will become less big.
Yeah,
it will only be like 1 car wide. So it's really all about positioning there. So coming out of Lloyd-Lange, you have to be in the first part of the peloton for being able to react on attack or attack yourself, or at least being safe, because it will be a little bit twisty, turny, downhill, uphill. You'll see there's also a little bit a dangerous point with some grass in the middle, but by now they should know it. So yeah, you would not like to be in this position here at the moment, and also anyway not on the walking path.
You can keep your eyes out for one of yesterday's most aggressive riders, was Steffi Habelin. You can tell her apart from anyone else the fact she's got long-fingered gloves on. Because she forgot her short-fingered gloves, she told me earlier.
Yeah, I mean you have riders that can absolutely not ride without gloves. I can understand. Of course, you want to have gloves on when you crash. You don't want your hand to be injured. To be honest, I'm not a good example. I've always ridden without gloves, but you shouldn't. But for me, it was always more a handling feeling. I just could feel my bike better without gloves on. But yeah, I also knew that even in case I crash. It'll probably damage some skin.
Yeah, I once decided to ride to work and tried to jump a curb without gloves on, and I've worn gloves ever since because both my hands were a proper mess after that.
Yeah, you probably have a bad experience one, and then you decide to wear them. We have Liv Wenzel now from the Luxembourg national team riding here in front. She was having last year also a really good race at this race. She was doing a solo last year for quite a while. So maybe she wants to do the same this year. We'll see how. Now you can see that the road is getting really smaller. They go into this downhill, which is a little bit technical with this fast corner. And another right corner that comes just after.
And then it starts to ramp up, doesn't it?
Yes, you go down pretty fast. Everything is lined up here, as you can see. Yeah, if you're in this position, you can't control the race anymore. You just have to react on what is happening in the front. And as soon as you are at the down of this downhill, it really kicks up again. And yeah, there, if you are in this position, you can't react to anything.
You can just see number 11 there, just trying to move up. That's Nia Evans, who is well, one of the world's best team pursuiters, and riding for the Hansling Alba team. She's trying to move up, but yesterday was involved in one of the many crashes, and though she's here, she's a tiny bit beaten up. So I don't think she'll be going for the win today. But earlier in the day, we did see that team on the front as they were yesterday. They put in a really, really good show. I was very, very impressed by them. And I'm also very impressed to see the Luxembourg Austrian team on the front trying to take control, because that's where you learn, isn't it?
Yeah, you will not get better with doing nothing. Yeah. I always said so. You need to take the risk to show yourself, to blow up yourself also from time to time. But it's only with trying that you also find out your own limits. And sometimes it works, and they let you go, and they underestimate your strength. And then it's your time to really take advantage out of that. And yeah, Liv looks actually really motivated and good today. I think she has this good memory from last year. Now she's also talking with Maria, as you can see. So yeah, I hope that she can still improve. She's also doing a little bit mountain biking. So maybe she needs at one moment to decide what she wants to be the best in, or at least try to be the best in. But at the moment, I'm happy to see that she's trying to be active in the front. Maybe we can also give a little bit of update of the crashes yesterday, because to be honest, it was a little bit a bad day yesterday with the crashes. I was a little bit worried about some riders yesterday, but because there were two big crashes, one in the beginning of the race and one at the final, not for the win, but a little bit behind. But there were some girls that had to go to the hospital. We got some positive news, so everyone, from what I've heard, is okay. But doesn't mean okay, there's okay and okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I saw Monica Castagna from the Top Girls Fassa Bortolo team in the hotel last night, and she was a bit like a mummy. She had a fair few bandages on her, but she's also got 3 broken ribs.
Yeah, I think she has broken ribs.
Yeah,
yes.
she seemed in pretty good spirits. Bear in mind, I don't speak Italian and she doesn't speak English, but she seemed in fairly good spirits, considering what had happened to her. And she sat at dinner with the team, and then they all sat in the bar without a drink, I'll point out, but having a chat as well. So it was good to see that under the circumstances, a pretty nasty injury. I mean, broken ribs is going to keep you out a fair old while, and keep you from sleeping for a fair old while.
Yeah, sometimes bruised ribs, they say, are even worse than a broken rib because you don't know it, they are bruised. But yeah, I really hope that today will be a little bit different. We didn't see any crash until now, and I'm really happy about that. I hope we can keep that until the end of the race.
We were discussing before we came live how many crashes we can all remember in the Festival Elsy Jacobs, and since kind of 2012, we can't remember any serious crashes. I was talking to the race organizer earlier.
No, we were always pretty lucky here. But yeah, yesterday was a little bit exception, unfortunately. You have days like that where not everything goes wrong, but a lot of things go wrong.
Does one crash breed another just because it increases the nervousness in the peloton?
I think it's just a situation of the race that makes it very nervous. Like yesterday, as you said earlier on, there was a lot of wind, so you want to shelter yourself as much as possible, and sometimes you just finish in the gutter because you try too hard to stay out of the wind, because you're maybe also a little bit on the limit physically wise to ride in the wind. Because I mean the safest way to stay safe is the best way to stay safe is to ride in the wind, to catch the wind a little bit, and maybe that was a bit the problem of yesterday.
You've got to be strong enough to do it, though, haven't you?
You have to. Yeah. Most of the crashes also happen because you are on the limit and you're not focused anymore with how you handle your bike, and then that's where you make mistakes. Actually, you often don't do mistakes when you are fresh and alert.
Well, I remember a few years ago watching the men's Brugge de Panne race, and Mathieu van der Poel ended up in a ditch. And if there's one person that can handle their bike, that's Mathieu van der Poel.
Happens to the best.
Yeah, exactly. So it really can happen to the best riders.
So now we finished this very narrow part. We come back to the big roads. So the roads will stay this wide until the finish. Now there's a little fast descent, and then we are heading into this part where I said before, which is a little bit more open, where potentially when the wind is standing well, you could
see the trees.
Put it a little bit on the gutter. You see them moving a little bit, but I'm not. I'm not so impressed. I think yesterday was more.
Yeah.
But we see when they in 2-3K when they are coming back direction CESSANGE, then we can see anyway by the shape of the peloton if the wind has an influence on the race or not today.
And of course, it's not like De Muren, isn't it, in Brugge de Panne?
No, I think there's only one Muren, and that's in the Panne.
Yeah.
And I think the Muren is also this. People maybe don't know what the Muren is. The Muren is one straight line from 6-7K near the Belgium coast, and it's always exposed. There's nothing on the right and nothing on the left. A gutter with water. If you're lucky, you finish in the gutter with water. And it's part of several races like the Panne and Gent-Wevelgem, and it's really always the point where everyone is trying to put echelons on, trying to use the wind, the side wind, to break the race apart. And it becomes very hectic and very nervous coming into the Mura. And if you are there in the wrong group, then it's really painful, and you also know that your race is probably over when you're not in the first 1 or 2 groups.
We see Beth Morrow there with the number 13. One turned upside down. Were you ever that suspicious rider? If you were 13, would you turn one upside down?
I can't remember I was ever 13. I always had number 14. I was always having the 4 in my number because we were always listed with the order of our name.
Yeah.
So I never was 13, I think, and I would not have put it upside down.
Do you know what? Knowing what I do of you, Christina, it doesn't surprise me.
I probably have other ticks I have, but that was not one. Yeah.
Here we go again. This is the... it is Das Hutchinson, in fact, on the attack here off the front. I can't quite see who that is, despite having been in the hotel and sat on the next table with them at breakfast this morning. I still couldn't tell you quite.
Helmet changed everything, huh?
The helmet changes absolute everything. The helmet, not necessarily the glasses. I find. And these huge glasses are awful things, I think, these days, especially as I need prescription sunglasses, and you can't get them that
It's
big.
just because you're jealous because you can't wear them.
That's right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a little bit a desperate attempt to go out here alone.
And she's not committed. You can tell
No,
that might have happened by accident. It's one of those moves, isn't it? That
she was maybe going really fast through those to this right-left corner. And here we have the feeding zone. The feeding zone normally the years before was at the top of the climb at the finish. Now they moved it to here. Probably more space here to make it safer. That's why they moved it up.
164 at the back in the USA kit is Alison Mrugel. I think that's how you pronounce it. She was in the Breakaway for a long time at Scheldeprijs the other week, up the road with one of the British riders from the Alba team, in fact, I seem to recall. But of course, as always happens in Scheldeprijs, it ends in a bunch kick.
And it always ends with a victory of Lorena Wiebes.
Except this year when she didn't race.
She didn't race.
So I think Barbara Groiski was fourth.
She was fourth, yeah.
And the former world champion, who won that from Trek? Italian former
Elisa
world. Balsamo, yeah. I wrote an article about her where I didn't interview her at all. I spoke to people that knew her. So I spoke to her.
Did she check it?
Well, one of them was her dad, and he wouldn't have said anything,
okay,
anything bad, I'm sure. And then
so
I had coffee with him at the Giro.
This is the part now we see the flag. Like we have signs as a rider that we check from where the wind is coming from, and flags are part of it. So this is a nicely placed flag. So it's fully headwind coming back to CESSANGE, so unfortunately that looks like we are not going to have any echelons on this exposed road, because this is the road I was talking about earlier on. And also you can see a little bit that the way people are riding, they don't want to put too much energy in riding in the front here. Everyone is regrouping around their teammates. That's mostly what's happening when it's headwind like that.
It doesn't make this easy in any way, shape or form. This is not easy what they're doing, keeping the pace high.
It's not an easy riding here, but you can see that they are not in a hurry. There's nothing to stress about at the moment. So this is all about just staying in front, keep your teammates and your leader or your sprinter out of trouble. Keep them in the front, and then see how it goes coming back to the line and back to the next climb of the wall.
The song that's just being played on the PA outside here is a song that the band I've just joined are going to cover. And I'd never heard it before, and now I've heard it here, even though I could tell you every note of the drumming in it.
It's a very famous song, though. I'm astonished that you didn't know it, yeah?
I'm an old man, aren't I?
I don't underestimate you.
And you guys probably can't hear it, but the song is, in fact, Wherever You Will Go by The Calling. And its jums are just about to come in now. There you go.
Don't try to
I've got my phone and the torch on. I'm waving it around in our. We're in a different commentary box today. It's the one I've always covered this race from, which is quite comfortable, and we've got much nicer seats as well. I mean, it feels all we need is a cocktail and the sunshine and the beach, and we're away, I reckon.
For me, yesterday was the first time commentating this race, and it was a nice experience. But only, the commentary box was really warm. Yeah. And I was actually happy it was over by the end. So I'm happy with this. It feels more comfy, and
it was super hot in there. Interesting to see the little bit of communication there to the Hansling Alba riders. Just get in front of me, come across. You're looking after me, I'm not looking after you, kind of thing. And it's a complete waste of energy to have two riders next to each other from the same team, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is a really waste of energy. You have two ways of communicating. Of course, you can communicate with the radios, because these girls are allowed to use radios today. Yeah. And you can also communicate just directly. And if you are lined up like this in a line, so one teammate after each other, of course, if you are the last one in line, you cannot scream hard enough so that the first one will hear you. So it's really from rider to rider that the communication goes on. So if you have something, if you're the 5th rider in the row and you want that the first rider is moving, you need the riders in front of you need to give the message on, so that the first one gets the news from the back.
How much of the I mean, most of the communication is done face to face by talking, isn't it, as opposed to using the radio?
Really depends on the situation. I mean, if you're really close, it's always better to speak one by one. But if it takes you an extra effort to move up to your teammates to really talk to each other, then of course it's easier to use the radio. But yeah, the radio is also often not really clear. You have noises from the wind, from the jerseys, and from other sounds that coming from the outside. So often you don't really understand the details. So if you want to make sure that your message arrives in a clear way, you better ride up to your teammate and talk to her in one per one.
You can just see the roundabout in the background. The cars are coming round. That's as you can see, sort of 300 metres short of the line. And that, when it comes to a bunch kick at the end of the day, is going to sort the race out and put it into one line, isn't it? So on this sprint, positioning is as key as it could ever be, yeah?
Yeah. You have 2 sprints in this sprint. So you have already the first sprint coming into this roundabout, where you actually can only take one line because it has cobblestones in the middle, so you don't want to take the risk. You have to jump the cobblestones or to be outbroken by a rider that is not taking a nice smooth line in front of you. And then of course you have to sprint to the line. So it's a challenging sprint. You can get it completely wrong, and at latest at the roundabout you know if you will be able to sprint for the win or not.
Yeah. More moves here on the ascent up this climb, which is, as Christine said a little bit earlier, is absolutely brutal. And what we can also see once again is just how active Visma Lisa bike are being. We've got Marta Lack, who was the winner of yesterday's race, just trying to stay on the wheel there of the Visma Lisa bike rider. But this is where it's going to kick off. We're going to see sort of successive attempts up here to thin it down, aren't we?
Yeah, in my opinion, this is really the only place on the lap where you can break it apart. The rest of the lap is not. It's not that it's easy. Don't get me wrong, but this is really the main part where you can make a difference. And so you will see probably every lap riders trying to just go as fast as possible to the top and see how the situation will be at the top. This is a big group that went away now. We will see how if they start working nicely together straight away. We have Visma Lisa Bike, we have Focus Vessel, we have Jaco Alula, AG, SD Works Pro Time. Some teams cover this as well. Some teams have 2 riders in, so we'll see if they start to get organized or not. And if someone missed it, and if they missed it, then it's up to them to lead the chase.
Yeah, there's only one SD Works rider in there, and I'm wondering if Marta is a super clever rider. Whether or not she'll want to go with just under 60k to go, whether or not she'll actually want to be part of a group, even if it is that big.
We'll see. At least if she's there, she should not ride, I think. If it's 10 riders or 12 riders, and you have other teams that have multiple riders in, she will probably not ride, or at least make it roll like she's doing now. But as soon as you will see that the gap is growing,
and she's on it. There she goes. Yeah.
She's giving me wrong, but we'll see.
I was incredibly impressed with her sprint yesterday. Not only the strength, but the use of the line. And she said to me afterwards that she'd ridden it 8 times before that day, yesterday, so she should know by now. She was very, this is what I'm here to do, and if I don't know where to be, that's bad.
Yeah, sounds logic. I mean, you always want to go take the fastest line, and the fastest line was the right line. She was riding on the left and then going to the right at 200 meters. That's exactly how you should do it, and not opening the door so that no one could come inside of the corner, and yeah, that was perfect, and that's what made win the race. We have Lonneke Uneke also here in the breakaway. This seems to really organize now itself really well. Radio course says now 15 seconds, so a little bit more than. Oh no, they changed it. So yeah, it's actually a nice big group. And we don't see the peloton now even anymore, so we'll see if someone tries to maybe make a counter-attack or tries to keep it rolling behind. Because if you give this group too much time, then I would not like to be the one that has to ride behind. Now it's UNOX Mobility who has no one in front, I think, who has to take on the chase. They are only 4 today, I think. Anina, the Finnish champion, had a crash yesterday and unfortunately is not able to start today. So they are only with 4, which makes things not easy when everyone can ride with 5 or 6. So it's obviously a very, very big disadvantage. But they still commit to put one in front and try to make sure that this breakaway doesn't get too far away. This is the castle of Fajanen. If you want to have a nice time, you can go there.
We on the way here this morning, we drove sort of just around the edge of the city centre. I think it's a beautiful city centre. I've been into the city once, despite having been covered this race 7 times, I think. I've never been in the city centre. Came on a motorbike trip here, and it's really lovely in the city. I think anyway.
You don't have to convince me, huh? Maybe we can come back on the race last year, how it developed. As I was in, I can maybe give some inside information about how last year developed. We really tried to make it break in the second part of the lap, so where the road is getting a little bit more narrow. But it just wouldn't work. It were hard attacks and it were also attacks every lap, but it wouldn't work. So we decided to, in the last 2 laps, to let it go and to focus on the sprint. Then we had a little issue on the local lap. There was a fire in the last lap, and they unfortunately had to close the road so that the fire workers could go and take care of the fire. So the race was actually 1 lap shorter than it should have been, and they informed us with 6K to go. So it was a bit difficult for every team to switch their mind and to focus straight away on the sprint, to get everything organized so that you can organize your sprint train. But it finished in a bun sprint and it was very, very hectic. I finished my job with 1K to go, and Marta Lach, she won this sprint actually, I think, pretty easy. I saw it only back on the images later on. It was a quite convincing sprint. If I see this group riding, I could potentially think that if they work well together, and at the moment you only have UNOX Mobility riding behind, that if they really commit to each other, then they can actually avoid the bunch sprint.
Which would be very good to see, I think, bearing in mind. I've got the rundown of this group now. We have Marta Lack, number 1 from SD Works Pro Time, Lonneke Uneken and Margot van Pachtenbeker from Volker Wessels, Ilse Plomers and Nina Lavenu from AG Insurance Sudal Quick Step under 23, Noah Janssen from Liv Alula Jayco Continental team, Lucinda Stewart and Lucinda Stewart is also from that team, sorry. She's the Australian champion, and if you miss her jersey, you're not looking close enough, but obviously it's green, gold and white. Virginia Bortoli from Top Girls Fassa Bortolo. We've got Britt Heybrecht from the Van Eyck Belco team, and Eva van Acht and Rosita Reinhout from the Visma Lisa Bike team, which we are going to get the name right today. We're going to stop calling them by their old.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I misnamed them the whole day yesterday. I'm really sorry.
Well, that particular Dutch, very yellow Dutch supermarket chain were their lead sponsor for a long while. They're an interesting team, actually.
I guarantee you they did not pay me for getting the name wrong
I spoke to their sports director this morning, and he was saying just how that kind of legacy thing happens, and it's one of the things with investing in cycling.
That's how sponsorship is working, huh?
Absolutely.
It's supposed to go into people's head, and well, definitely the yellow supermarket brand went into my head.
If you were talking about the men's sport, you would refer to the AG Insurance team as Quickstep, even though they're the second sponsor, because they've been with that team for a very long time. I think about 20 years. So they're just Quickstep. They will be Quickstep for a long time. And even I now sometimes call AG Insurance Sudal Quickstep.
I always had a hard time with sponsors changing with other teams. Well, at least at Bill Stolmans or SD Works Pro Time later on, we didn't have so much name sponsors, so it was a little bit easier for my own team. But I have a lot of teams that I still call DSM or Jayco was also a very long time still Orica for me, so it was hard for me to adapt to it.
It took me a year to stop writing Balls Dolmans, I have to say, when they changed. 15 seconds anyway here for this group of 11 riders, and they are working well together. I mean, we've got the rider Bortoli from Top Girls Fassa Bortolo. I mean, they've been around for years, that team, for a very long time, and their kit hasn't changed in all that time either. But to see her coming through, you know, there's no shirking, there's no one.
This is actually a nice group to be in. At the moment, at least, no one is not riding, and you don't have to be angry with someone for skipping turns. Although the Australian champion now got dropped in this little kicker. So that's actually nice groups to be in, where you can actually count on everyone to do at least a little effort to make the group work. We'll see when they turn to the right on back to the big group if the collaboration will probably still be the same, but you can see behind in the bunch that people try to react and try to make the make the kick to bridge over.
Number 103 just starting to slide back there is Joelle Messimer, German rider, and she's also taller than me.
It sounds like everyone is taller than you.
I was explaining to Christine how my wife and my two daughters are both taller than me. Short legs. What I try and do is whenever we compare heights is sit next to my wife, because then I'm taller than her. Standing up, I'm just a midget. I'm absolutely tiny. But there you go. You can just see them going across this ridge. It's lovely to get these shots. It's really nice, and you see the context of just how far away they are from each other. And this chasing group is now significantly smaller. We could see a really frantic effort to chase down, which was led by Uno X and Sarah Tizet, to get across to that front group. And it wouldn't surprise me if quite soon we have two pelotons, essentially one at the back and one at the front. Sort of probably 50-50, not far off 50-50.
It's always a little bit a problem when a group is too big, then all of a sudden no one wants to ride anymore. So if these first two groups are coming together, I am afraid that it then will be too big, and then they will probably stop riding.
Yeah.
So we will see. That's still Uno X Mobility riding behind with Marie in the wheel, so she will probably not take over at the moment, at least. So it might be a second group. There was a split in the peloton, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they will be back to this group in the next kilometers.
Now, there's a Cofidis rider here, and I didn't get a Cofidis rider in on my list.
I think it's Valentine Fortin.
Yeah. Well, I obviously misheard as it came over race radio. It's quite difficult when you don't speak French, trying to translate the numbers.
I will turn my race radio on then again. But just as I said, there was a second split. After these 10 riders. So we have 10 riders in front and 11 riders at the back. But they're really struggling to come back to this group.
So they're working so well.
They made a big effort to ride away from what now is called the peloton, but that didn't bring them any closer to the main group. So the gap is now 15 seconds to the second group and 30 seconds to what's left of the peloton. So this is the peloton.
I do think this is going to come back.
I would not be surprised if the second group will now sit up again, because from what I see from here, they are not really collaborating. Most of the riders that are sitting in the wheels are from teams that are also represented in the front. And they don't necessarily want to bring it back because, as I said just seconds ago, if this group is not 11 but 20, that's too big. A breakaway of 20 is never really working well together. So it's better to keep it 10 or 11 and then try to not let this second group come back. And in my opinion, at the moment, that's only Uno X Mobility trying to bring it back.
And the last lap was one of the GPM laps. The result of that is Rosita Reinhout. Reinhout? I don't know that one. Visma Lisa Bike, who took their 5 points there. Marta Lack was in second, who took 3 points, and Ilse Pleumers took 1. And if you're Dutch, please criticise my pronunciation of Pleumers, because I think I'm pretty good on that one. I think it means feathers,
I will not challenge you.
I think Pleumers is feathers. I'm probably completely wrong.
If you would ask me now, I would say yes, but I'll not put my hands in fire for it.
That's an interesting phrase. I thought that was a really English phrase.
Was it?
Yeah.
It's not. It's French.
Is it really? It's probably... Right, I just getting so you can just see, we're just hearing on race radio that it's 28 seconds between this group and the peloton and 20 seconds to the middle group. So I'm guessing that middle group are going to come back, and then they can combine forces more effectively, can't they? But it just goes to show how you have to use the climbs if you're going to be breaking this up.
Yeah, no, the peloton is all back together.
Yeah.
Well, at least the second group was caught by the peloton, which shows that this little group was maybe also more done by the effects of turns and technical elements, and maybe this little kicker by the end more than a real effort. And now we turn into headwind again, and they, in the peloton, at least you can see that they all look at each other again, and that's where the breakaway will probably gain some seconds again, because they obviously will not look at each other. They know that they have to ride and keep on collaborating until the deep final to make sure that this breakaway goes to the line. I'm really impressed about how this group is working. I like to see if everyone is working. Unfortunately, I have been in too many breakaways where, people were counting the efforts and were not putting the effort into to go for the victory. And then in the end, we all lost. I lost too, but they lost as well. So it's pleasant to see a group that is, at least from the outside, looking like they are working well together. Marta here took the initiative to change the way of turning. So before Marta said something, they were turning to the
Can you explain
to the right, and now they turn to the
why,
left.
please?
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky on this side, on this road, because as I said, the wind is coming to the front, but the wind is never really only coming from the front. So if the wind is coming from the front, it doesn't really matter if you ride up on the right or on the left of the rider who's riding in front. But as the road is turning a little bit to the left, and the wind probably comes a little bit from the right, in the beginning you were probably sheltered better on the left of the rider, but as the road is turning to the left, all of a sudden then when you move to the front you're not protected anymore, and that's where experienced riders can take decision to change the sense of turning in the group. Some riders always get it wrong. But yeah, Marta is experienced enough to take the initiative and to say that it's about time to change the way of turning, to make sure that the group is more efficient and moving forward faster, a little bit faster. And that's also where you make differences. So if you have riders like that in a group where you can really count on their experience, it's always an advantage.
Just thanks for that, because I've always struggled with which way to turn. Just a correction on who is in the break. So I did say it was Britt Huybrechts from the Van Eyck Belco team, but it's not. It is Valentine Fortin, number 173 from Cofidis.
So this is where the last kilometer starts. So from here on, when we go to the final, this is where
And this is uphill.
The red
here.
flag wheel. It's not really. No,
okay.
It's not really uphill anymore.
It's one of those uphills you don't notice when you're in a group.
No, for real, it's not an uphill. It's maybe a little bit false flat. So now we go into this last roundabout that we mentioned a little bit earlier on, where you have to be in position. Of course, if it's only a small group coming to the line, this roundabout will be less important with positioning than if it would be a whole bunch coming to the line.
I can hear a little kid outside shouting, "It's coming, it's coming." So either they're English or they're practicing their English. But there's a dad and two kids just shouting that, just as the peloton is heading in. We've got the cars coming past us at the moment, and you can see the riders just coming up, and you'll see our little position in a white. Well, there we are now. Just by the 50-meter line.
It's an interesting group. It has quite a lot of fast riders in it. I mentioned already my teammate from last year, Lonneke Oneken, who is actually a really good sprinter. We also have Valentine Fortin, who is coming from the track, so I think she also knows how to sprint. Marta obviously proved yesterday that she was very, very fast as well. So it's an interesting group with good and experienced sprinters. We'll see if for how long they will still keep on riding together like that. I think they should keep on collaborating a little bit longer, just to make sure that it's not only 25 seconds. Maybe trying to bring it up to close to a minute. I would like to see it close to a minute, because then you can then you're a little bit having security from behind.
I think Reinhardt was just going out at the back as well and taking a couple of riders with her of that group. And having done a little bit of racing, but just go out on a club ride, when someone puts the pressure up on a climb and then you're slightly gapped, closing that gap is just, it's just awful. Just sickening feeling. That's Franziska Brauser.
This is actually a really specific climb as well, as you can. They got gapped a little bit, but if you're not a really good climber, then you can still try and come back after this. It's sometimes you also don't want to force yourself to go too deep on a lactate, because this is actually a lactate climb, and then doing the little bit easier effort after to come back. But this was then maybe a little bit.
Yeah, you could see that's Nina Lavenu just. She can't even come round to take a turn off Bortoli there. I don't think in playing sport, I used to play a reasonable level of rugby, I've ever felt the desperation that I've felt in cycling when you can't close a gap. It's just the most awful feeling. But I'm wondering, you can just see the Italian rider there just on the radio, just communicating back with the car to say that she's been dropped, because that changes the dynamic of course back in the peloton, doesn't it?
We will see. I mean, Nina Lavenu, she's a very young rider, so I think she's already very happy that she made this breakaway, and now trying to come back. It's not an easy races to start with when you're coming out of the junior category.
That's right,
so
yeah.
when you are the first year's U23, so making the main breakaway of the day is already a little bit like a success, I think. But I'm quite confident that if the two of them work together, they probably can come back. I don't think it's making such a big difference from behind, because AG still has someone in front, I think. And Fassa Bortolo, they will. I don't think that they are able to chase behind in the peloton anyway. So it doesn't. I don't think it will change the dynamic of the peloton.
Yeah. Lavenu is only 18, though it has to be said she's 19 next week. But still, that's really young to be riding up against, physically far more mature riders, isn't it?
Yes, I think, and that's also why these races are interesting. It gives extra motivation for young riders like that, and when they can once in a while share a breakaway with World Tour riders, with riders that won already big races. It only gives some motivation for the rest of their career. Maybe they couldn't make it until the end today, but at least they proved themselves that they were strong enough to be there when it happened. And then the next step they have to take in their training or in their racing is to, next time not being dropped at 42, but maybe dropped at 22, and then in 2 years, they are there and still hanging on until the line, and who knows, maybe then they can win.
It's only her third level at a professional level. She rode Omloop Het van Hagelaar. I always get the Het and the van the wrong way round.
See, that's the same. I always still call this Newsblad.
Yeah. And GP Chambéry, which was recently. That's her home race, by the way, as a French woman. But she does come from rather good cycling stock. In that her dad Vincent rode the Tour de France in 1989, and Nina herself was fourth in the junior national time trial in 23, and then fourth in the road race last year.
Yeah, they continued their effort, but they will get caught now. Just before they go into Le Lange back again, they will be caught by the peloton. You always have to try and keep riding. You should not just sit on and give up. Once you're dropped, you never know. Maybe there was really someone who kind of put an attack in the front and they will slow down, but it was not the case now. But it was worth trying to keep on riding.
Do you think this will change the approach of Julien Dora in the AG Insurance car? Then now they've only got Ilse Ploemers in there.
No, I don't think it will change anything for AG. They have probably their strongest rider in front, so that's a good thing for them. Nina, she did the effort and helped to form this group to make sure that they had pretty quick 20 seconds, so that's also a valuable thing that she did for the team. So her work is actually done and well done. And now it's up to her teammate to, if this goes to the line, to make the best possible result.
Of course, while this is the under 23 version of the AG Insurance team, Ilse Ploemers is in fact on the full World Tour team. And there is a regulation now where riders from squad's second team, if you like, their continental level team, are allowed to move up to their World Tour level, and vice versa for a certain number of races per year. And Pluimers is much more a classic style rider, and I always think of Elsy Jacobs, it's Jacobs, isn't it? Not Jacobs. Jacobs. I always think of these races as kind of classic style with a couple of short, punchy climbs. They're not pan flat. They aren't a Brugge de Panne race, are they? They are pan flat. So as a consequence, it does suit a rider like Pluimers, who has got a bit of a sprint.
And now we see that in the bunch we have 3 teams that kind of seem to collaborate a little bit to try and bring it back, although the gap is increasing a little bit second by second. So we have Ceratizit, UNX Mobility, and I saw some riders from Aubert 93 as well, trying to do their best to bring this gap down, because as I said, the goal from the girls in front is to increase this gap as big as possible, maybe go to the 45 seconds, because that's giving security that you can maybe, instead of riding 90%, ride 85% in front, and then being able to do a better sprint by the end, or an attack by the end. And now we see that Visma Lease the Bike is trying to take the lead. It's not because they want to increase the pace, it's just because they now will take this downhill very slowly.
Yeah.
It's
and this is a one-line descent.
This is a one-line descent, so no one will be able to pass Visma Lease the Bike, and she will take this this downhill as slow as possible, so that the group in front can go as fast as possible and gain some seconds here. It's a strategy that that is allowed, and which is often used.
Is this the kind of moment where perhaps the sports director will have said to go and do that, or is it, or will the riders in the peloton doing this have told their colleagues at the front that, right, I'm going to get to the front, I'm going to slow it down, you up the pace a little bit?
The experienced riders, or if you have a good road captain, they will do it without being told to do it. They can read the race really well, and they understand the race, and they understand when they need to do which moves. But of course, if the riders don't have the experience, the car can always say things like that.
But I think at the world tour level, they should be expecting that kind of tactical, nuance, shouldn't they? They should know that that's going to happen.
Yeah, they should know. Now they will be annoyed because they are really doing it actually pretty well. So we have one rider from Ceratizit and one Visma Lease Bike, and again Ceratizit. So the Visma Lease Bike are making sure that the Ceratizit rider cannot take over.
Yeah.
So it's a actually a very smart move. World Tour riders know that they should and can do it. And it's if it's always done in a fair way, and if you're not pushing one each other in the gutter, it's completely fine to do it, and everyone would do it anyway.
This is one of the things I love about road cycling is those lovely little tactical complexities that just change the nuance of a race, and we've seen so much in this spring. Certainly in the men's sport, when invariably Tadej Pogačar gets up the road, everyone looks at each other. When if they all work together, they might be able to catch him. But and you see this kind of politics going on, and I love it. Though I do think the women's spring has been a bit more exciting than the men's spring.
I agree.
But maybe
it was
I'd say
more
that
interesting.
anyway.
Now we see that Ceratizit, they see that they cannot make the group work together and bring the whole group back. So actually now they took the initiative to try and bridge. So to put in again a counter attack here on this little climb where the wind seems to blow a little bit more now, because it's all stretched out. But unfortunately for her, she again has a Visma bike in her wheel, and also Steffi from SD Works Pro Time is sitting nicely there, so they will not take over.
But that's quite close, actually.
But she will bring them back.
Yeah, that's quite close. And then you've got one of the tall Aubert riders coming too. I think that's closed down a bit because everyone's chased the counter-attack, haven't they? But Steffi Haberlin, isn't it, with the long fingers? I did ask her if it was okay to mention that she'd forgotten her gloves. So I'm going to go to. I said to her, "You can tell you're a mountain biker."
I will tell. Now the thing is, if the Ceratizit rider is coming back, that will change a little bit the dynamics of the race because you have one team more in front and one team less riding behind. So now Ceratizit, if she makes it to the front, Ceratizit is again a happy team. Because they have one rider up front and they will stop riding at the back. So at the moment we only have Uno X actually left at the back in the bunch, who potentially have to ride because they have no one up. They have no one up front. Visma bike now they have quite a lot of riders in this breakaway. I think it's now 3, which makes that they are the team best represented in this breakaway.
And that's Sarah Van Dam who led that chase across, the young Canadian rider for Ceratizit, who finished 3rd, I think, yesterday. And number 3 you can see is Steffi Haberlin, who was incredibly active during yesterday's stage for SD Works Pro Time.
We are a little bit now on the limit of, is this group too big or not?
Yeah.
Will they now start looking at each other or not? So we'll see how it goes. We see the 2 SD Works Pro Time riders now here communicating between each other. Probably Marta said that, well, hopefully for her, she said to Steffi that she feels good and that Steffi can really go for it in trying to make this group work as hard as possible. She maybe can now relax a little bit more because she has a teammate. She doesn't. She maybe can save her legs a little bit more now in this breakaway, doing a little bit less work than before. But I would like to see a picture from behind in the peloton to see if there's now a team left committing to chasing this group, or if this is now game over for the peloton.
And the Visma Leasebout rider that's just come across is Linda Riedman, who we did correctly identify yesterday, and showed me the plaster on her knee because clearly she's had some sort of off at some stage.
Yeah, we have to apologize if sometimes we get some girls wrong. It's not so easy. Even for me, who have spent years and years in the peloton, I've been only away now for a few months, and there's a whole new generation coming in of young riders that I have to admit I do not recognize as fast as I would recognize riders I've been ridden with for years now. So I'm sorry. We try to do our best. If we get some names wrong, don't be too angry with us. We also try to do our best only. So this is the picture now from the bunch. Aubert Saint-Michel 93. They have no one in front, so they decide to keep the pace as high as possible. They are covered by Visma bike and Ceratizit, who both have a rider in front, so they will not take over. And this is now a little bit the situation I mentioned. That is
this Cofidis just moving on the other side of the road?
We have a Victoire Berthaud who tried to attack. She has Victoire Valentin Fortin in front. Maybe Valentin Fortin, she communicated that she was not feeling comfortable in this group and that she doesn't feel like she could win it from this group, and that she's maybe asking her teammates behind to keep the pressure on from the back, so that potentially they can put another rider in this group with who they have more chances of winning the race.
It's a risky strategy though, isn't it? Because if you bring the peloton, then your rider has perhaps less chance, but if your rider knows she has no hope, then perhaps it's worth trying to get someone, even if they tug the rest of the peloton with them. Do you think?
Yeah, I'm not in their legs, I'm not in their head, so I will not judge decisions made by a rider. I trust the riders. If they say I don't feel good, then that's really the decision, the right decision. We anyway need to see maybe on the next picture if that really made something, this attack from Victoire Berthaud behind her. If it really just stopped again. So
yeah.
I think Valentine Fortin, she's a fast rider. I lost some sprints against her. I won some sprints against her. So I think she should not feel too scared being part of this group, especially because she's the only one of her team. So she can also maybe do a little bit less than the teams that are represented with more.
I think she'll probably try and just tap through as opposed to ride through now and just try and take it easy.
I mean, not riding doesn't mean not riding through. You can ride through and you can push through.
Yeah.
And of course, you should ride through because that's making this group exist and stay out. But you can also decide to put more or less energy into it. And if you want that a group keeps going, you should always roll through. Yeah, we have some difficulties with grabbing bottles. It's not that easy. I also misgrabbed some bottles. It can happen. Of course, it shouldn't. But it depends a little bit on how the bottles are. If they are just coming out of the cool box, you have to know that they are quite wet and they're slipping pretty fast out of your hands. And also here it's maybe going slightly uphill, but they are going quite fast. So don't judge the riders too quick on not being able to grab bottles. It here also happens to the best. And I just hope that they are not out of drinks, so they will flick themselves anyway.
Yeah, I'd be absolutely terrified handing bottles up to a rider. In case I got it wrong, I think there's an art in it.
It's not an easy job. You also have some soigneurs who are better than others. You also need to know that some teams are working with soignees from outside or people from outside, so they are maybe also not so much used to handling bottles every day. So it really also depends on who's trying to give you the bottle.
Interesting little chat there between Marta Lack and Rosita Reinhardt. What on earth could they be talking about at this time? I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I think they just both want this group to stay out and to keep on working as good as possible. I saw that Marta was skipping a little bit some turns just before they talked. Probably Wismar was not super happy with that, which I can also understand. Maybe they were saying that everyone needs to ride through to make sure that this group doesn't stop and can go for the victory. Maybe that was the little discussion we had here.
Yeah, it's interesting that someone who is so young, as in Reinhardt only being 21, is doing the talking to the person who is probably, let's face it, the favourite to win the race.
Yes, but being young nowadays doesn't mean so much anymore. Women's cycling also becomes more and more professional, even at a very young age, and the new generation really comes up with a lot of confidence, and they exactly know what they want. They also know how this sport is working, and they know that they need to stand up for themselves if they want to make it into the best rankings in the several races. So it's maybe a little bit a difference in the generations. From my generation, maybe we were a little bit more shy when we started our career, and we would not have dared asking Marta Lack to please take a turn. But now the new generation is a little bit different. It's not always an advantage, I would say, but sometimes it is. And in this case, it probably is, because it helped. At least it helped getting Marta back into the turns.
Interesting thing. Some of the cars coming through here, and I don't know why. And you saw one of the Volker Wessels riders just waving an angry hand. I get the feeling, well, it is coming down. We're down to 17 seconds now, and we saw both Haberlin and Lack on the front. Neutral service coming out of the gap now, so this is coming down super fast. And is this Breakaway,
they
all for
are
nothing.
pretty close now. I think they also want to take the cars away because now we're coming pretty quick back into the wall, and there the distances in terms of, well, the gaps in terms of distance will be very tight. So it's important that the cars are away now, so that if someone out of the peloton tries to make the bridge, try to bridge over now in the wall, actually is not hanging in the car.
On the front of the chasing peloton there is the Danish champion, Rebecca Kurner. And we've seen a fair bit of her doing that this season, and she is a very, very strong woman. And it just looks that some of the sort of gusto has gone out of this, this leading group. And perhaps that's what the chat was. Now, Visma Leasebike had 3 riders up there, that there was a change in tactic. I mean, if you've got an extra rider in the group, why would you change your tactic? But as you've said about something else, you're not in their head. We don't know what's going on, do we? But it did, after that chat, Marta Lack came forward and put a bit of a spurt in, did a couple of turns with Steffi Haberlin, but no one else has really come through. And so this is going back. This is one of the drop groups there. You see Lucinda Stewart, the Australian national champion. But we've got some strong riders in this group. Visma Leasebike are actually leading the move from behind. So they clearly... No, they've just dropped back, but they clearly want this back together, despite the fact Ryan Helt's now come to the front, and Rebecca Kurner is virtually at standstill mode, still going up there much quicker than I would, it has to be said.
Yeah, so they went this climb up quite fast. It does look like it's everything together. This is maybe, if you have the legs, it's a good moment to put in another attack, because everyone was up block. At the bunch, in the bunch, the few that were chasing were putting their last efforts in to try and bring this bunch back just before the climb. And at in the front, they were pushing pretty hard. And as you can see, what this did is that it didn't really come back. Some
but it's
people
changed
came
the complexion there. This happened yesterday, didn't it?
This happened. But look, we have also now from SD Works Pro Time, Barbara Guarici, who made it to the front.
Yeah.
So this is now a very, very big group. And I'm a bit afraid now that it's now starting to get too big, because you only have a few riders who will try to keep this rolling, and everyone else at the back is a bit looking at each other. Bobby is doing some trying to look around to see the situation behind.
Tell me about Barbara, because she's been on the scene for a very long time. I remember her winning... there used to be a World Cup race in Germany, didn't there?
There was maybe a Sparkassen Giro.
Sparkassen, yeah. I remember her winning that.
Back in time, she was one of the fastest rider in the bunch. She was also someone who is technically very handy on her bike. She could really go into holes where no one could go with her bike. If the handlebar goes through, then she also went through. But that's also a quality you need to have as a sprinter, and she definitely has that. With the years, she grew more into a lead-out person. Now she is one of the best lead-out person in the world. She's leading out at SD Works Pro Time Lorena Wiebes. So it's Lorena's last woman standing, and that's a big responsibility. But she's very good at it, because she really feels the moment where she needs to go out of the bunch, where she needs to still hide, where it's too early or is it too late. And that's really not a lot of riders have this feeling, and Bobby, as we call her, really has it. But still, in races like this, she is fast enough herself to hope for a good result for herself. And if she moves herself in a breakaway like that, it's definitely a card to play by the end.
This is actually a very big group with a lot of the big teams represented. So I know they're not far off, and only Visma Leasebike are doing the work at the moment. But this group has got the chance of staying away now, hasn't it? With such a big group with all the teams represented. But it does look as if Cofidis are the ones who are working. And is it too big to work?
This is for me not a breakaway. This is the bunch escaping.
Yes. Yeah.
We call it. We see Cofidis riding behind because they only have one rider in the breakaway. To be honest, the breakaway doesn't look like they go really fast. Only a few riders are pushing to keep the pace a little bit high, but everyone else is sitting on. It's a little bit always the danger that you have when the group is too big, and for me this looks like the group is a little bit too big. If I was a big team represented in front, I would try to bring this group make this group again a little bit smaller in the next climbs or difficulties, just to make sure that the riders in there all commit to work.
Yeah.
It depends also really on the riders that are chasing behind. If they have nothing left, if Cofidis has nothing left behind, and they will not be able to bring it down, well then then it's also done, right? But normally if they are still with 4 or 5, they still should be able to put in a good pace and maybe try to bring this group back where only, at least it looks like only 5 riders are actually pushing through at the moment.
I've been very impressed with this Liv Alula rider, Noah Janssen, getting in this group in the first place, and then just cracking on and trying to make it work.
Yeah, she definitely looks like she's motivated because she's also the only one of her team of Jaco Alula to be in front, and she is taking turns. So
she won the sprints competition yesterday.
Heads off for her to not saying I'll just sit on because I'm the only one. It's shows that she has the good spirit. I like that. Yeah, we'll see. She won the sprint competition yesterday, so maybe that gave her also a little bit confidence for today to not only go for the intermediate sprints, but go for the final sprint. And being in this breakaway is already the first step towards a good result.
But it does seem there's just not, like you said, it's a peloton now, isn't it? And I can't tell if the gap's coming bigger or smaller. It's just so difficult to tell.
I think at the moment it stays a little bit the same. Yeah. I think we can only say something when they turn back on the big road. So when they finish this downhill, the small downhill that comes up now, with followed up by this little punchy climb. So once we turn back to the right on the bigger road, we can maybe have more infos about the dynamic where we're heading to now. We see Cofidis, they have 2 riders that fall off to the back, so that's already again 2 riders less riding. That's now it's Roland taking over at the back, covered by AG, but she will not take over because she has girls in front. Yeah, it's an interesting situation. As I said, I think we really need to wait the next 5 minutes to see if
whether it stays,
whether it's all good or if it's all together.
That was Kirsty Van Haften, and Flavie Boulet from Cofidis, just going out the back there. They've done the work, and it's not worked. So this is, and it's when it's that transition between one team doing the work and the other team, another team taking over, that is a key moment, isn't it? When people are trying to chase and they can't get across, then another team's got to decide whether or not they're going to take responsibility. AG Insurance Soudal just taking a bit of responsibility themselves here and trying to open the gap, just opening it a little bit on the descent. And I think that's, it's Haberlin there, the SD Works rider. It's interesting that since Groiski came across, we haven't seen SD Works on the front. What's going on there, do you think?
To be honest, I think they also want to wait 5-6 minutes more to see how it develops at the back. If it's really worth putting the more efforts in, or if it's a case where the group is too big and it will, at one moment, come back anyway. Maybe if at the top, when they turn to the right, they see, oh, this is actually worth it. They then can decide to put 1 or 2 riders back to the front to give this group a little bit more speed. At least that's my
your guess.
Well, maybe they just maybe also decided that they anyway just go. They want a bunch sprint, and it doesn't really matter if they push forward.
Their two best options for a bunch sprint are now up the road, aren't they? So they need to know whether to commit and use the legs of that group or not. But this looks like it's coming back now. You've certainly got...
We have Marie trying to bridge over. So yeah, I also have the feeling it will come back, because it's a nice group, but it's just too big, and we have too much interest in this little breakaway, in this big breakaway actually. And everyone behind also sees that it's actually the bunch riding away, and so they can. Then everyone says, "Yeah, well, we cannot miss the bunch," and then it's just increasing the speed also at the back.
We just caught a glimpse of Ségolène Thomas from the Saint-Michel Preference Home Aubert 93 team that. Just trying to slipping out the back. She's been on the bunch of the back of the bunch for a lot of the day, clearly paying for yesterday's super aggressive performance. Actually, I thought she was very good yesterday, but it takes its toll, doesn't it? Especially if you're young.
Yeah, second day. If you really raced hard, then the second day often, if you're not used to the efforts, then you feel it the second day. But it's also how you get better. I really felt that at the end of my career, I really became better at stage races, also because I had this pace that became way better, and I was able to recover quite well, and able to do the same performance the first day, or the fifth, or the sixth, or the seventh day. And if you're younger and you don't have the same base, then that's maybe a little bit more difficult.
Is that Dronova just coming across there from Roland?
No, it's someone from Roland, but I don't think it's Dronova.
And there's more behind. In fact, one of her teammates is leading that chase.
But this first group just also got bigger again in this part. We have Marie that came over. We have Victor Berthaud also came over. So estimating like around 25 riders being, or even more, being in front. It's not a bunch. It's still the first group. Let's call it the first group. It's pretty big now. Difficult to say if this is now the situation that you really want to be in or not. If I would be in this situation, I would just roll through. I would not put more energy in. I would just roll through. I would tell my sprinter to sit at the back and recover and focus on the sprint. And all the other teammates, they will just roll through, but also not not going full gas, because it doesn't really matter here. The best are anyway in front. The riders that are dropped are anyway not a threat for the victory, in my opinion, else they would already be in front, because they had several opportunities to make the group. Now it's already the third or the fourth counter-attack that made it back to the group. So if you are not strong enough, then then you will not fight for the victory anyway.
Yeah, it's sort of either way now, isn't it? You know, if it comes back together.
Yeah, but the bunch now here, you can see that the speed is completely out.
Yeah.
I think, as I said, all the strong riders, or at least the riders that still have ambition with the victory, are in front. So even if this comes back, in my opinion, they are not strong enough to go for the victory. So the strongest are now in front. The teammates will ride through. Will ride through to keep the pace as high as possible, without spending too much energy.
This group will now work as a peloton as opposed to a breakaway, where everyone's working.
I think now
it'll work as a peloton, won't it, with enough teams?
Yes, I think now the big teams all put one or two riders just to keep it rolling, and the big teams all have also the sprinter in. So the sprinters will just sit on behind. You will see Bobby staying behind. You will see Marta stay behind. And on the other hand, you will see Marie and Steffi doing turns in front. So does every other team as well. And that will make that maybe probably the group behind will not come back.
Pretty sure the US team rider in there is Alison Rugal. I wish I'd asked her this morning how to pronounce her name. But she's not coming through there, is she? She swept across.
She should not. She should just sit at the back and say, "I'm happy to be here."
She is a sprinter.
I'm the only one sitting here, and I will take my chance when it comes to a sprint. I will save my legs for the sprint. The same for the Roland rider, for example, and also the same for the Jaco Alula rider. No one will blame them for sitting on, because this is really a big group, and the big teams have several riders in, so it's up to them to
I'm
to
wondering if that is Mia Griffin, the Irish rider in the Roland kit, and she is their sprinter. She would be, I would imagine she would be the person that they would want in this group, who is able to maybe earn them some UCI points by taking them a win. Interesting fact about Mia Griffin, you'll like this. Her family competed in Ireland's Fittest Family competition.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did they win?
That information I didn't find out.
Then they didn't.
That's probably... They were actually coached by former Irish rugby player Alan Quinlan. And Rugby Link for here, of course, we're quite close to where the Luxembourg Rugby Club play.
Yes, we are. They are playing in CESSANGE, Boykonen. They have a really nice stadium there. We have a female and men team playing rugby. To be honest, I don't know their level. But we have teams.
The women's team have not played in the new national stadium, but the men's team have, which I find slightly disappointing.
We can make a request.
Yeah.
We do make a request for the same stadium for
absolutely.
Both genders.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But then. The Luxembourg City, the club team, not the national team. There are a couple of other clubs, I think, in the country who mainly deal with low children's. But the club team, they play in the West German Bundesliga. So when I say West German, obviously West Germany doesn't exist, but the league for the west of Germany, because we're super close to the border here, aren't we?
We are close to every border.
This is true, yeah. To Belgium, France, and and we have to go through Belgium
Germany.
to get to the Netherlands, though, don't we?
Yeah, we are neighbours with Germany, France, and Belgium, and not that far from the Netherlands.
Isn't the lion in your flag something to do with the? Isn't it something to do with the?
That's a Luxembourgish history. So our Grand Duc, the family from the Grand Duc, at the moment we have Grand Duc, which the family is original from the Netherlands, actually, back in the years.
Yeah.
And that's where we have the lion from, the red lion.
Yeah, yeah. Hansling Alba now on the front, but I think they're chasing a lost cause. 35 kilometres and 35 seconds and 19 kilometres left to go. I mean, it's good to see them working, but this is a big group at the front. What, 30 riders? It's a peloton,
yes,
and being chased by a pretty lower level continental team.
Nothing against this team. They're probably very strong, but it's never a really good sign if at the back in the bunch you see the lower teams that have to start to chase. That means that all the big riders and the big teams are represented at the front, and no one actually wants to ride anymore in the back, and then they have to do it. This is a big group now, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this goes like this to the line.
Yeah.
Because as you can see, a lot of riders are sitting on here, and a lot of riders are actively recovering. And they also know that they probably will not beat some of the fastest girls in here, and they are thinking about opportunities where they can go themselves on an attack and do a breakaway from the breakaway.
And it was Mia Griffin, the Roland rider, in there. Just the person they want. I just noticed Marie Schreiber, who you see in your picture here in that beautiful Luxembourg Champions jersey, with her arm round Steffi Habelin and talking to her. There is some tactical planning going on here, isn't there?
I can imagine if that's SD Works Pro Time or Visma Lease a Bike or any other team that has multiple riders in this team, that they try to put someone in front now. Like we're going now the last time into the wall, so that will be also the last opportunities to use this wall to create another situation and to put pressure on the teams that missed this opportunity. So I could not imagine that we are going to ride the wall up now on a very easy pace.
No. The other person we've not seen come anywhere near the front since she reached that leading group is Barbara Gorieski. I know she's really good at hiding. I know she's a brilliant lead-out woman. But do you think they'll change tack away from Marta Lack and use Barbara to sprint? Or will they use her as a lead-out into this, as we discussed earlier, quite technical finish?
So I was sitting in that meeting yesterday, but I was not sitting in that meeting today. So even if I could tell you this info, I could not, because I was not there, and also I would not give that info away. But yeah, it's two cards they have to play, and that's also that's actually like a joker card, because all the others also don't know who will be sprinting or not. I mean, you will see pretty quick in the last kilometer who will be the sprint or not. Now it looks a little bit like miscommunications here. Someone didn't want it to take over and let a gap, and now it's up to Marie to chase this down, because obviously this can for SD Works Pro Time this cannot go away like this.
But look how quickly she's chasing it down. I know that's an effort, that's quite a big effort, but she's so quick to get back across. The other,
but we always say sometimes it's less energy to do the effort straight away, because if you wait, then the gap will be bigger, and the effort to do it after will be even worse. So sometimes it's easier just to put a little bit more effort, but on less time.
Now we have a small group.
Yeah, this is we didn't have to wait the wall. We have a small group because people did not communicate well. There was a gap. Someone had to close it. Marie did it with a kick, so she gapped the people behind, and now this is five people going out. But yeah.
Interestingly, Visma Lease a Bike also have Martina Fidanza in that group now.
Yeah,
and she's another sprinter, isn't she?
Fast rider as well.
Yeah.
Fast rider as well. So as I said already several times, all the fast riders are in front, and that's also a reason why I think you should try and in the next wall, to take advantage of the next wall, to at least try and have another situation in this big group, because it's too much strong sprinters for me in there, and if you have multiple riders from your team, you should try and create another situation where you put the best sprinters or the other teams a little bit to work to make sure that your own sprinter can save the legs a little bit.
I mean, Fidanza's been around a very long time, but and is from very much a cycling family. Did you know that? But she's not had a win for some time. I think for just about a year she's not had a win for. But I mean, her entire family is involved in the sport. In that her sister rides for the Laboral Cuccia Fondazione Euskadi team. Her dad rode in the 80s and 90s, winning a stage of the Giro and the Tour. And her mum is a team principal at a small Italian Conti team. So the whole family, I quite like that. Being a bit of a family bloke myself. Right, onto the wall for the last time, and this is the effort here. Is anyone going to try and make a difference there? We've got Confalonieri there on the front there in the Uno X kit, just seated power. I'd love to know how many watts she's putting through that bike at the moment, but it looks like it's largely stayed together.
It did. It was a fast climb, but no one was able to really kick and do the difference. So they are coming over it regrouped. To be honest, this group will not come back.
No, a whole world of suffering going on for the from the Top Girls rider on the left there. She looked like she was dying 1,000 deaths.
The only chance to come back is if this group really starts to look at each other.
Yeah.
That's the only chance, but it doesn't look like, because Marie decided to keep the pace. Maybe not at 100%, but to keep it rolling, to make sure that this is the group she wants to come to the line with, because she also has 2 good chances of winning. And now she is joined by other teams, so it will be hard for the group behind to.
Tell me about her. What kind of rider is she? Because her success has come on the cyclocross field. That's where we've seen most of her success. But as she develops and physically and to me, it looks like she already knows how to ride. You know, how to race really well. But as she develops, what sort of races is she going to win, do you think?
I think she needs to discover herself still. She was mainly focused on cyclocross until now. She put a lot of effort last year into TT riding, which paid off very well, with some nice results also at for example, Thüringen Tour. She did do a really good TT there. So she's really good with those 1 hour and 1 hour TT cyclocross specific efforts. She's also a very fast rider. Really punchy, but to be honest, I think she really needs to discover more races. Also, she's a rider that needs to have fun with what she was doing or is doing. Plays a big role in how she will perform later on. So she still needs to discover, I think. And but she has the motor to do well in the future, also on the road. I mean, if you are one of the best in cyclocross, there's absolutely no reason that you cannot be one of the best on the road, but there's still a little bit time to improve and to find what she's best at on the road.
Balois' Minimax ladies team there being left. I mean, they're a club team. They're not even a continental level team anymore, and they are being left to do the work. That says something about where this is going, doesn't it? They're a club level team with the riders they have for a reason, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, again, nothing against them. They also riding really hard and riding 100% for themselves. But it's just a sign that all the big riders and all the best teams are up the road. Yeah. And in the bunch, or what we call the bunch, no big team is left anymore, and that's why we don't see them anymore behind. So that's why the club teams or the continental teams need to start riding. Else no one will ride.
I think Visma Lease Bike will be looking to Fidanza, won't they, as opposed to Van Aert, who is a bit more of a punchy rider than a pure sprinter. That's what this is going to come to now, isn't it? It's a bunch kick.
Yeah, I think this is really a bunch kick. If this group stays like this, of course, can be that there will be a few attacks still in the final. But if it comes back to a bunch sprint, then it really will be a traditional sprint, and then Fidanza probably is their best chance.
And that's Riedman on the front there, looking at the left knee.
Also, their advantage is that they have quite a lot of riders, so they actually could.
They can put a lead out together, can't they?
Make a lead out train,
yeah.
To put her in the best possible position.
But this is a peloton, isn't it? What is it, 40, do you think? Is it 40 or 30 odd riders, maybe? Yeah, more 30 than them. And the neutral service car just going in there. They don't tend to put that in there, depending on the width of the roads, of course, until it's over 30 seconds. You have to have some cover. But at 30 seconds, if you've got to stop and change a wheel, you will be behind the peloton, wouldn't you?
Yeah, especially as you always prefer to have your own team material than material from the neutral car. It's really, I always say they are really just there that you can reach your team car and have a shower in the bus.
Yeah, exactly. No bus here though today for. I think they're in the minibus, aren't they? In the small camper.
Yeah, SD Works Pro Time, they have the camper. It's quickly can explain it quickly, because today is also the start of the Vuelta Femenina, which is one of the 3 Grand Tours in Spain. Starts today with a team time trial. Actually, we should have the results.
I think it is over, yeah.
But yeah, we will, as DWorks Pro Time, as many other teams are starting in Spain today, or have started in Spain today. And yeah, we are not yet there that we have 2 team buses, but we have team buses and truck and bus and camper. Sorry. So for this race, they decided to come with the camper, and the bus and the truck are.
I noticed that Visma yesterday had a bus, and today they have a camper.
Probably because
the men
they
have taken,
went down.
Yeah.
Oh, there was because this is also something a lot of teams now have men and women teams, so they can also share equipment. Sometimes Visma is showing up with buses from the men, and for example, Trek also does that at DWorks Pro Time. Just as Canyon Tram, they are specific women teams, so they only have one set of equipment, and that's maybe then also sometimes where you need to make decisions about this time we don't need a bus.
Emily Watts, I think that is on the front for the Saint-Michel Preference Homes Aubert 93 team. Just absolutely burying herself. We saw her out the back earlier in the day having buried herself, and now she's got back to the front and doing some more. I do love that. I just love just how difficult it really is to do, to go deep. I mean, I did once in a race sit up, drop from the front of the peloton to the back, and then just caught them when the road evened out. And that's a big move there now, just from the peloton in a desperate attempt to tie and bridge. We have only got 20 seconds, so it'll be interesting to see how, and that's from front to front, so it'll be interesting to see how long it takes for the message to get across. Is this going to come back? We didn't think it would.
It's not impossible, because now really the speed also at the front is dropping slightly down. If you still have something in your legs, you could try to bridge over, but it should be done now very quick.
Yeah.
Because I do have the feeling that with Visma Lease a Bike, they really have the numbers also to put something a nice train on, and if the trains are starting to get set up, then the speed will automatically rise again, and well, then it's probably too late for a counter-attack from the back. With AG trying to use a little bit the slipstream of the motorbike as good as possible.
As you should.
Yeah, the motorbike should just be a little bit more in front, to be honest.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it is difficult for them because literally a push bike can go around a bend quicker.
You really go faster on the bike than on a motorbike on these kind of descents. That's why, sometimes as a rider you would wish that the motorbike would anticipate a little bit and take a little bit more distance before heading into the downhill, because it's a little bit annoying for a rider if you are a good downhiller and that you are blocked because of a motorbike that was not anticipating the downhill.
Who do you think AG Insurance are riding here? Are they going to go for Plomas or Lonneke or Van Pachtenbeker? I mean,
Lonneke is on Volkers Wessel.
Oh, sorry, of course, yeah. I was looking at I'm looking at the wrong team. I'm thinking about AG Insurance, but looking at Volker Wessels, which is rather stupid. But Plomas or Helena Jones, an American.
I also was not in their meeting, so I can also not tell. Plomas, I actually only know her a little bit better than all the others. So,
she's the only World Tour rider.
Naturally, I would go for her. But yeah.
How scary is it finding your way through a bunch sprint?
It's not. If you're in control and if you feel well, actually, it's fun.
Yeah.
it is fun. And if you don't have this, this little trigger feeling or sense of tense, then you also cannot do a nice sprint. I always thought that the tense and the little bit risk motivated me to try and focus and to be pretty good in a.
With a gap down now, the gap's come down to 5 seconds, and this is Steffi Habelin going to have a real go and a good point to have a go on the course, isn't it? 7.5 kilometres to go, and now we've got one of the Volker Wessels rider who is in a whole world of hurt a little while ago, having to lead the chase. This should be quite chuffed if she took this to the line, wouldn't she?
Yes, but it's actually perfect because she will put the pressure on the other teams to chase her back. Because if no one chases her back, then it will be for her. That will make that the group behind will not stand still, and that the bunch will not be able to catch back, and especially all her teammates can sit at the back, sit on the wheels, and save their legs for in case of she will be.
And think about positioning for the sprint as opposed to having to get something back. It's perfect, isn't it? It's a perfect situation to be in for them. But
it's a really nice gap she has now. Now she really just needs to put her head down and pedal. There's not so much to think anymore now.
No.
Because this is a all or nothing go. Even if it doesn't work, she did the work for the team by doing this. So even if she will be caught in the last 3 or 2K, that was the perfect team job as well. And if she doesn't, then it was a really nice move. Just at the perfect moment, just at the moment where this breakaway was on the threat of being caught again by the bunch from behind. So everyone was a little bit looking: shall we continue the effort? Shall we not continue the effort? It was also at the moment where the climb was a little bit steeper, and it was a perfect moment for her.
We can see in that chase group now that Visma Lisa Bike have come to the front. See their rather distinctive jerseys have come, and Steffi should take every advantage off the back of this motorbike. And she does. Good for her. Good for her. Oh, this is going to be really exciting now. We've got, as I say, 6.2 kilometres to go. We've got Visma Lisa Bike chasing what is left of that large breakaway come peloton. Is this going to come back or isn't it? And now we've got one of the Ceratisit riders. This is the chasing group, isn't it?
This is the chasing group.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the bunch did not really make it back. I think some riders made the bridge, but definitely not everyone.
And that's Petra Janko just coming back, I think, from that lead group. And this gap from this group to that group to the leading peloton, if you like, has increased in the last kilometre, hasn't it? It's gone up. It was 5 seconds on that climb.
Yes, but it's normal because this group now speeds up because it's a chaos because Steffi really has a nice gap, and if they don't start riding, she's gone.
How now does Marie Schreiber stop these guys catching her teammate? I mean, you can't just slam your brakes on. So what do you do? How do you go about doing that?
No, she will just be a stone in the middle of the chasers. So she's sitting in this position will make that the next teammate of the team chasing will not be able to take over as fast as possible. So the takeover will be delayed for 1 second or two, and that's already 1 second lost. So we do that. We do it in a fair way, of course. We do not push. We do not brake. We do not make it in a way that we block people. But if you're just sitting there in second or third position, it's completely fine. Yeah. 5 kilometres to go now. We have Steffi Habelen from the SD Works Pro Time riding her 5th or 6th race now for the team since coming across from mountain biking. We've got her with, I reckon, about 10 or 12 seconds lead on a small peloton of around 30 riders. She has 3 teammates in that group, but that group also consists of 4 from Visma Lisa Bike who have been particularly strong this weekend. They will be trying absolutely desperately to get her back, but as you can see behind the yellow jersey there of the Visma Lisa Bike rider, who I'm guessing is Linda Riedman, you've got
Habelin's teammate in Marie Schreiber, the Luxembourg champion, who is riding obviously on her home roads, doing her best. Now she's on the front. Doing her absolute best to make sure this does not come back. We're in for a pretty exciting last 4 kilometres. I cannot believe that the bike and the regulator are in there if the gap's only 10 seconds. So the second, we've got a neutral service bike with wheels on the back. We can see that. The other one is the moto, either the motor regulator or the motor commissaire, taking control of the running of the race whilst there is this tiny gap with Habelin, but I think that's going out. There's another rider from Visma Lease bike now moving up. They're trying to move up their sprinter. We think they'll sprint with.
So the gap is correct. It's around 8 to 10 seconds. She should take the fast line here, going to the right. I still think she maybe still needs to learn for the future. Yeah. But this is a brilliant effort she's putting in. Really, behind they are really riding hard and trying hard with the best riders to bring her back.
Yeah, that is.
I don't think that they are looking at each other because it's only 3Ks to go. So
an attack here from Mughal, the US rider riding in the Siniska helmet. She's just trying to launch across, but I just don't think she's got the explosivity to get across. That's yesterday's race winner and last year's race winner, but former Polish champion Marta Lach, #1, who is sat on the wheel of Barbara Goriski, one of the best lead-out riders there is in the women's peloton, and she will be hoping just to sit on Barbara's wheel, who will drop her off in the roundabout that's just up the road here. Mughal, the American rider, is bringing another SD Works rider in Marie Schreiber across to the front of the race. It's all kicking off here. It is all kicking off. Just 3 kilometres to go. Who's going to win this then?
Yeah, I have the feeling Visma is a little bit on their limit because now we had these 2 riders with Marie and the USA girl that had a little gap. If they would be still strong, then they would have put a girl also in their wheel. So I'm not so super sure if they still have enough left to bring it really back. But now we go really quick into the last 2Ks. This is the last big effort because this is false flat up. From now on, it's actually only down and flat. We see if they try to organize a little bit better from the back.
We've still got 3 groups there, essentially, haven't we? Because the American rider is not quite caught by Rosita Reinhardt. It is coming back.
But this is still, Steffi still is in the position to win this. It really needs a lot of organization now from the back to bring this back, and this is really also perfect for the SD Works sprinters. No matter if it's Barbara Guarici or Marta Lach, because they did not have to do any efforts at all. They can just focus on putting themselves in the good reels, in the good position, and wait for the final kilometer.
55 there. Number 55 is Tess Moorman, who did well in the sprints competition yesterday, but she is going to bring Steffi Habelin back into the bunch with just 2 kilometres to go. You can see the Visma Lease bike riders moving up with Martina Fidanza, I think, is she 3rd wheel. The Italian sprinter is being brought up into position, but also AG Insurance are now moving up there. I think Goriski will come late with Marta Lach as is the perfect way to do big effort here from the Visma Lease bike rider.
We will see 2 trains. We will see Visma, he's a bike train, and we maybe see Focus Vesser train. I think as the Works Pro time, they will choose wheels. They only have 2 riders left. Marie did a lot of work before. Steffi also. So we were talking about the trains. Here comes the yellow train, and I think everyone else will try to make profit out of that.
Margot Vigie is now on the front here for Visma Lease bike. Number 3 see on the right-hand side there is Steffi Haviland just sliding back through the group. Look for numbers 2 and then number 1 on her wheel. That will be your SD Works train coming through. We're heading into the final kilometre now, and you can see some riders are just getting tailed off the back as the pace is super high. So you've now also got Marie Schreiber just moving into the front, trying to position the rest of her team as they come through.
Yes, Marie has Barbara on her wheel. Marta is a little bit more to the left. Looks like Barbara will maybe lead out.
Now we're coming into this roundabout now. We're just coming into the final few hundred metres. We're at 50 metres to go. Here we come through. Lisa Bike on the front. And it looks like Marta Lack is going to lead out. Goriski. Do I see that right? We've got the signpost in the way. Can't quite see. And the sprint is on. We're inside 200 metres. Yeah, it's Goriski. Goriski is going hard. Goriski goes, but you've now got... And it's going to be Fidanza across the line, is it? Is it Fidanza? Yes. Fidanza takes a win there. Well, they actually made their numerical advantage worked really well there.
Yes, yesterday they got it a little bit wrong, and today they made it better. Congrats to them. We unfortunately didn't really see a lot of the sprint with the camera not really nicely positioned, but very clearly victory, I think. We don't need a photo finish from yesterday.
I don't think we need the photo finish from yesterday. I just felt that going into the roundabout, they were just slightly too far back, the two SD Works riders. And it does look like they were going for
They were going for Barbara just before the 600 meters. Marta was still in Barbara's wheel, so I thought that they would lead out Marta, but just before the roundabout, Marta moved herself in the wheel of Marie and tried to go for Barbara. I think they also launched her, but in the end, you have to admit that today Visma Elise Bike they were stronger, and they got a nice victory. Second for Valentine Fortin, third for Barbara Guarici. Fourth was Confalonieri, I think, from Reno X Mobility. So, yeah.
Yeah, good win.
Good win for them.
A very good win. And I think they've put in an absolutely storming team performance over the last 2 days. Yeah, they got it wrong yesterday, but that is, and as I said yesterday, they're a team that lives in the shadow of the best cyclists that we've known in the women's sport probably ever, in Marianne Vos, and also Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. Now she's returned from mountain biking, and these riders spend so much of the year working for them. When they get their own opportunities, they might not get it right every time.
Yes, this is a learning curve also, and it's like on races like today that they learn how to race and to race themselves and not just work themselves, because there's a big difference of being able to work for someone and being able to be there in the final and learning how to read the race and how to race yourself. It's a really big difference, and if you're never in the position to being able to race, you will not learn it. And that's why these small races, like small non-World Tour races, let's say it like that, are important, where the big names from several teams are maybe not on the start line, and where finally other riders are having the opportunities to race themselves.
My friend Bart there showing Fidanza, the Martina Fidanza, his finish line photo, so I'm sure he'll be sending that to her later on. That was a good win. It's a good win, and Confalonieri there is I'd love to see her win a race.
I think she's maybe a little bit disappointed about her weekend. She was so close from a win yesterday, and today off the podium. So I think she probably had like a goal to go home with a win one of these days. I think about yesterday she was really disappointed. Of course, you can be disappointed if you lose from 1 millimeter, because it means that you could have won. But today it was very clearly
it was
not enough for the podium.
Yesterday's sprint was whoever had the best line. Mind
Yes,
you,
yes, yes.
Marta needed
Marta
to have the
won.
legs because she'd been on the
Marta,
front
of course, it was legs also. Maybe also Marta did more efforts during the race than Confalonieri yesterday. So you also need to take that into account. But yesterday it was more a technical sprint. It was in a corner. You needed to pace it well. You needed to start it to start your sprint at the right moment. Today was more a real bunch sprint, and Visma bike had the lead out. And she timed it well, and congrats to her and the team.
Interesting 1,000-yard stare from Mia Griffin there in the Roland jersey. She looked absolutely shattered. It was a good race. It was a good race. I love a race when it comes and goes and sort of waxes and wanes, and you never quite know what's going to happen. And we didn't know until really the last 5K if that big group would come back, did we? So.
Yes, I think it was a race where all the strongest were in front, and where everyone had the opportunity to make it to the front. So it was a fair day for everyone.
But the smaller teams never actually gave up trying to get back to the front.
They never gave up,
which is what they're here for.
That's why they are here for. They're also here to show themselves and also to get better. And if you just sit in the wheels, that will never happen. And at some point, you need to. Put yourself also to work and try to still get the best possible result out of the day and out of the weekend, and also show yourself to other organizations to get invitations for other international races, which is not unimportant for those kind of teams.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great win there for Martina Fidanza. We just heard probably my plane flying over. We are right on the flight path into Luxembourg Airport here. It looks like they're flying down the road, doesn't it? And my plane will be flying in very shortly. I think that was probably it.
I just want to thank the nice neighbor from next to our van here, because maybe you noticed that the live streaming started a little bit later. That was because we had some internet issues. And lucky enough, we had a nice person that solved the problem with his home internet. So thanks to him, we all saw a very exciting race. And that's also how it should be done to help each other. Thanks to him. And I hope you enjoyed today. I did enjoy it. Did enjoy commentating this weekend with you. I hope we will be able to do it again next year.
It's always an honour. It's been an honour rather to commentate with you, Christine. So it's it's been nearly a year since Martina Fidanza won her last stage. She had 2 stages at last year's Thüringen Ladies Tour, which is one of those races, sadly, that for now at least, that we've lost out of the calendar. But we're going to show you a few of the day's highlights. And it's been an active race throughout the day, with the early group getting up the road. With Evan van Aert to Rebecca Koerner, had a gap early on in the day. And then Marie Schreiber has been everywhere today. I know they're her home roads, but she's been absolutely everywhere. And then that all came back together. Beth Morrow with her numbers on back to front, but each time we've come round the lap, this race in towards the sprint on the start line here in CESSANGE, or do we say CESSANGE? CESSANGE. And here, up this wall of a climb that's just after the finish line, every time something has happened here. And as it was in yesterday's race, it was Visma bike who tended to dictate the race and make the breaks when they were there to be made. I didn't see that earlier on in the race. Number 132 was Robin Clay there, doing a little bit of off-roading. Did well to make sure she held up there. Yesterday's winner and last year's winner in this race, Marta Lack, was also an ever-present. But it's been the 2 climbs on this particular lap that have made the difference. First of all, we had that leading group of 6 or 7 women up the road, and then that gradually swelled over the ensuing laps. At one moment we were 11, then we were down to 6, then we were back up to 11, and then we ended up with a pretty large peloton here of about 25, 30 riders who were going to fight for the win. Tactics being discussed there with our eventual winner. A nice day in Luxembourg. Why not come out and watch the bike racing? And maybe a few beers in the bar afterwards, or one anyway. And we have tokens. But again, on that last lap, this climb at the back of the course caused a major upset for some of the sprinters teams, with SD Works Pro Time's former mountain biker, still mountain biker, Steffi Habelin, the Swiss rider, going off the front. And now it was down to the other teams to chase and try and get it all back together for a sprint finish. Eventually, it was the AG Insurance Soudal under-23 team that brought it all back, and we ended up in a bunch kick. And it was Martina Fidanza who quite enjoyed that win, as did the team. And well done to them. Consolations there from Marie Schreiber to her teammates Barbara Goriski and Marta Lack. Marta's crown as the queen of Elsy Jacobs, at least for this year, has been stolen. Well, we've had a fantastic time. I hope you have too. As you can see from some of these overhead shots, this is a great place to come. And maybe once the UCI's dates are added, maybe the first weekend of May, why don't you come over and join us at Elsy Jacobs. But for now, from myself, Owen Rogers, and from Christine Majeras, thank you very much. We'll see you next year.
Thanks for joining. Adi.
We are fair.